G'day everyone and welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard, this will be Blue, and this will be Phoenix, the 750 Shiver that currently looks fucking awful, with a little bit of bondage hanging it from the roof. This is going to be part 2 of the steering bearings, I hope. This could be a bit of a bitty one for you, well for me, but I'll knit it all together into one video because I haven't got all the bits yet. I'm going to have a go at the actual stem itself, but what I don't have at the moment is the drivers to get the new versions. These are the old ones still, to get the new ones in. Now what I could do is, and I've seen several people do it, is just use the old one to put on top and to bang it in. But I'm trying to do this properly, failing mostly, but I'm trying to do this properly, and I have got a driver set on order that should be arriving today at some point. Thank you, good lady, for ordering it from Amazon for me with her Amazon Plus. So what am I doing next? Well, it's getting this bad boy sorted. So it's had a little bit of a clean out. Two things make me quite proud. One, I'll remember to charge my bloody radio mic, which I never remember to do. The second one, I've made a tool. Nat makes a tool. Now this is entirely thanks to Matt Hudson at the workshop, or Dirty Garage Guy as he is now, because the issue that I was potentially facing was, how do I get this down there? And what you don't want to do is be banging this cage with the bearings on it, because as I ably demonstrated removing the last one when I was breaking it off, they're quite fragile. It's the inner piece that I want to be connecting with and driving down this shaft. All gets very dirty very quickly, this, doesn't it? So, having seen one of his, I've done a bodge of it. I have taken a bit of my stem from my painting rig, which itself is a Barcelise push bike stand, cut some slots on, chucked a Jubilee clip on it, and it brings it down to that diameter inside, so I am hitting the bearing, not the cage. So ground it off just to get it nice and flat. So that goes down onto there, and it's longer than the pipe, so it gives me a bit of a surface at the top, which is all good. So I want to get that on, then wait for my driving tool and get that on. Now, having checked out some of your comments, that is actually quite fucked. There's one person saying it's had too many wheelies. Well, potentially, but they're uniform. So that has had, so they're uniform. So this bearing, obviously not this bearing, but the previous version of this bearing was in the same place each time it's been hit or rested. So I don't really know. I don't know what's caused it, but frankly, not that bothered at what's caused it. I want to fix it and replace it. But yeah, it is quite fucked. Just put my bearing down. There we go. Right, first thing I need to do, I think, is pack this bugger out with grease. Now, everything I've read, and I've read quite a lot on this actually, probably done more research on this than I do in most things I do. I normally just want to give it a go. Now they pretty much all say, it doesn't matter what grease you use as long as you use grease and lots of it. So, let's just try and jam it in. And it's really just lots of people bestowing different methodologies and different ways of doing it. It's just, you need to flood the bugger and get it so it's pushed all the way through. So that is nowhere near enough. I'll and somewhere clean so the grease just doesn't pick up crap from my floor. My floor come workbench. See, this is the point, and I routinely comment that these are not how-to guides. These are not advice, top tips, etc., etc. Not really what I do. You know, you hear out of morbid curiosity, watching what the fuck gets up to next. Yeah, this is joining me on projects rather than necessarily me teaching you anything. Although, if you want to learn from my mistakes and it'll save you making your own, what's the problem with that? Now that is good. That's quite nicely packed out. Trying to use the pressure on my hand to push it through. Nice. I'm not going to do any top health and safety hints about looking after your skin or anything like that. It probably makes sense to chuck some in here as well without going too OTT. Always nice to lube your shaft. It is double entendre-tastic, this job. Right. Get the worst of that off my hands. And always remember to put the lid on, because I don't want to get crap into my grease. Or any more than there already is. Right. So, I suppose moment of truth. So I'm on a bit of wood. Because if I've learnt nothing from Matt Hudson, it is that wood is good, and it should just stop me from going metal on metal. So I've got the big washer at the bottom, which seems to be a thing on Aprilas, or certainly on the Shivers. Now, if I remember correctly, there's a bit of a lump at the top, so I should just wipe past this and it might slide down the rest of it. I'll just move that off, shall I? Because that's going to bounce and annoy me. Oh, that plastic didn't last long at the top. That's being a bitch from the off, but it's getting there. There we go. That's that first slide that I was expecting. We're getting there. Balance might be better that way. sure I'm not pinching that too much. Yeah, that's moving nice and loosely. And got to wait for my driver kit. I'll be back when the postage has been. Now it looks to me like my Amazon delivery isn't going to get here. So what have I got? Fresh from the freezer, and I'm going to try the oldie method of belting it in with the original as a brace. Now this is probably going to come back and bite me, and it's probably going to prove that my impatience is a problem. But these fucking cables everywhere. Let me just make my life a little bit clearer for a few moments. Oh, there we go. Now that's about as level as I can detect. Now I don't want to go twatting it with a hammer, so I'm going to try protecting it a bit. Gross error check. Yep, it is the right way up. Right, so that's got it flush without belting the hell out of it too much. Now theoretically I can just use the old one, which it doesn't matter if I trash. That is the better old one. Where's the really trash one gone? Oh well, because I am going to fuck this up. Now I'm just trying to tickle it. And I did grease this beforehand, so I cleaned the channel and greased it. It's getting there. I was worrying, I thought I got the old one stuck on top then. Right, so that is as far down as I'm going to get, and I'm happy with that. It's nice and clean. There, I stopped talking for a while then because I was shitting a brick. That's cool. So that is deeply, that's bedded all the way in. I don't think I'm going to film doing the same in the bottom, because it's going to be really awkward for me to show. So let's leave me to it and I'll beat the bottom one in. Right, a couple of minutes later, that's the bottom one's in. Easier than I thought, to be honest. Considerably so. Right, so let me just, I haven't got that immediate notch right. I need to pack out that top bearing first with grease. Get that laid on. Start pulling it together. Right, let's get that done. Right, so I've got my top bearing all greased up, and a little bit on the washer as well. Just push that bad boy up, drop in Lovely new greased version. This doesn't seem to want to push past that first piece, but I can sort that out in a second. I think. Right, are you going to hold your body weight? Right, I'm not sure if you can see you can see my issue. You're actually in quite a good place. That might help. So I've just wedged it. Felt a proper jump that time. Oh, that's got it, I think. I think I've got enough thread. Yes. Right. Let's do up that lock now. That's got it. It's moving nicely. There's no notching. And it's not. And it's secure. It's not pulling. The easiest way of showing, if that's the stem. So essentially that top bolt is reducing this value. Reducing this distance. I'm talking confidently here, believe me. Never done this before, but this is the logical path. So it's reducing by screwing down that, the play adjuster. It's squeezing the gap and squeezing onto the bearings. Now I think that was overdone and it squeezed so far that it basically embedded them in. So I'm trying to get it just enough that it doesn't allow wobbling, but it's not crushing the living bejesus out of those bearings, which I think is what had happened to them before. Now I'm not getting any motion. I'm going to do a little bit for luck, and then I think we're there. So get it on right lock, otherwise I'm just spinning it. And I'm happy with that. That is turning nicely, not locking, not notching. Job, as they say, is a fish. Well, that had me worried. My biggest concern was if I was, when I was beating the bearing over the top, whether or not I was actually stripping the thread at the same time, which I think with this is a danger. Right, I can start piecing this back together now with as much patience as I can muster, which generally isn't a lot, it has to be said. I'm going to have to knock it on the head and shoot out shortly because I've got to go and do some dad duties. I'm starting to think my missus is quite enjoying the whole not being able to go out because I'm having to run around like a fucking idiot. Right then, quite a big fast forward actually, because I've thrown it back together. I just tripped over my torch. So where are we? Whoa, drunk. If only. Right, so we have no notching, and we have nice smooth bearings, which is nice. Now it's not all gone perfectly. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you this, but the crown nut for it has basically been cross-threaded at some point. So I'm going to have to get a new one on the top. So I've just left it open at the moment. I'll put the stopper in just so I don't lose it more than anything else. But I have put it all back together, and we are good, I think, in the hood. Say all back together. I've just realised left a bit unplugged. What's that? Other way, dickhead. Right, so I was going to start chucking the front back on, and well, more than anything else, I'm desperate for a test ride. But rather than chuck it on as is and give it a go, I think not now, possibly this evening. I really need to have a look, see if I can find a way of, I don't know, bodging, fabricating, whatever you want to call it, but finding some way of giving it that second bracket. Now don't get me wrong, it was quite happy on there, we just won before, but I feel the urge to do it better. But that's an aside. I need to remember how to put it all back together as well. Yeah, but as far as the process is concerned, headstock bearings complete. A bit more involved than I was expecting, I have to say, but that's probably just not enough thorough research by me. But yeah, I'm happy. I say I'm happy. It was a lot more crush bang wallop than I really would have hoped. I don't like working that way. It doesn't sit well with me, but it works in some cases. I'm still perplexed. I'm going to have to find a better way of getting those bottom brackets off properly, because that wasn't properly the way that I did it before. Don't like just welking stuff through, it's just a bit shit. and your wrist damaging bits. Yeah, I'm really annoyed about that crown nut. That's really irritating, but you know, these things happen. If that's the worst that comes out of it, and I've still got the one here, and I will shop directly afterwards. Oops, on 0. So why is it on inches? So I am looking for 19mm. Yeah. Okay. Right, so 19mm bolt for the top. Now, weirdly enough, I don't have any knocking around. I did have a quick look on Blue to see if I could nick his, but they're different sizes. Yeah, cool. Job done.